At the time of recording, US international Weston McKennie, 21 years old, has all but signed for Juventus. Kasey, Keller joining us now. What does he offer and what will he bring to the Serie A giants, Kasey?
Well, I think that's going to be the big question. And I think Weston's a young player who broke in at Schalke pretty young, and he's a honest, hardworking, central defensive midfielder. The question mark is when you go to a club the size of Juve, that there's a huge number of players that you're competing with. I mean, you look at guys like Rabiot and Betancourt, and now they bring in, Arthur for, 70-some million from Barcelona. So he understands, I'm sure, that it's going to be difficult to get on the pitch. But when you have that kind of opportunity presented to you to go to a club like Juventus, and I love the confidence that he shows, that he says, I'm willing to go here, fight for an opportunity to get on the pitch. Now, you have Matuidi who's left. You're thinking they're trying to get rid of Khedira and maybe Aaron Ramsey as well. So there could be some chances. Maybe you got to just hope for, that's the sad part, you got to hope for maybe an injury or something to give yourself an opportunity. But I love the kid's confidence.
Yeah, because he's obviously hoping to break that starting 11. The midfield, as you mentioned there, you could say more about creativity and passing, Craig. So is there a chance that with what he brings, he might just actually make his way into that starting lineup?
Well, it's going to be a big period for him, isn't it? When he walks in that dressing room for the first time, it's going to be a bit of a wow moment when he looks around. And sometimes, youngsters can crumble at that. And but as Kasey mentioned, he seems a very confident young man. But even for one so confident, it's still going to be difficult. But look, he's going to offer Juventus, as you said, something slightly different. Now, we know Blaise Matuidi over the period with that lovely left foot has been very dynamic about getting around the field, getting up, getting back, really working that left side and that central midfield area. I mean, Juventus got him for a very cheap price from PSG not too long ago. And it's maybe a role that they feel Weston McKennie can come in and learn and mature. He has the energy, the drive, and he has the experience now for a youngster having played in Germany. But it's going to be interesting to see just how new coach and very inexperienced coach Andrea Pirlo sees this young man's involvement in the team going forward.
Because, Kasey, there was interest from Premier League clubs as well, albeit Premier League clubs that aren't competing in the Champions League. But obviously a player like McKennie's been used to playing. We see in the Bundesliga young players getting their chance. Is there an argument to be made that the Premier League, one of these clubs, may have been a better fit for him for playing time and development than Juventus?
Well, I think players have to weigh that when they go to, any kind of decision on which club they're going to go to if they have options. And I think if you end up going to a club like Juve and playing very sparingly, then maybe you kind of look back on it and you say, well, maybe it wasn't quite the right decision because really he's about to turn 22. He's been used to being, in the last couple of years, a pretty regular in the Schalke side. To then go to a club, so big like Juventus, who's won, Serie A 9 years in a row and are not necessarily looking to win Serie A again. They almost feel like that they're going to, but they want to build a squad that can compete to win a Champions League. And again, it could be difficult for Weston to find playing time. And at 22, that's a tough time to spend a season without playing. So, yeah, maybe it would be better to go to a smaller club at this stage. But sometimes as a player, when you have an opportunity, it's not like opportunities to go to clubs the size of Juventus come around every day. So with that opportunity, and look, it looks like it's a loan spell. Is it a case where, yes, there's a mandatory option? Maybe there's not a mandatory option. Who knows? But I love the fact that he's gambling on himself to see if he can make this work.
Yeah, absolutely. The reports say that if it's over 60% playing time, then that obligation to buy would kick in. So it will be interesting to see how much he is used. On top of his confidence in trying to break that 11, Craig, he has also cited the Cristiano Ronaldo factor. Obviously, it's a chance to play alongside a player like that. How much will he benefit him and learning from him on the pitch and the training field every day?
Oh, I think when you go and you work with top players and you watch them train, and my experience, watching the guys that I played with, who I would consider top players, the Viallis, the Zolas, the Hullets, the Henrik Larssons, Fabrizio Ravanelli. These guys, people wonder, well, is it just talent? No. These guys work harder than the average player. They put more hours in. They put more effort in. They put more thought into it. And I think for any youngster going in to see how has a player like Cristiano Ronaldo done what he's done for over 10 years, 50 goals a season or there. But how do they achieve that? They don't just pitch up and it all of a sudden happens. And so you go into these places and you see how different clubs do different things and how every day is so demanding. And I'm not saying it's not like that in Schalke. I'm sure it is. But we're talking about a different quality of player here at Juventus. So if you don't go in and learn from these kind of setups and scenarios, then you're never going to learn. But I suppose here what we have, and going back to the question you asked Kasey, is the opportunity is just too good to turn down. Now, we have the Euros in 2021 now, but the last time I looked, the United States was not part of Europe. So he doesn't have to worry about that. So he's got almost 2 years till the next World Cup. Now, if the World Cup was in a year's time, then it's a concern going somewhere that you're maybe not going to get regular game time. But I think he's got a little bit of time in his hands here in terms of major tournaments. And so he's probably looked at it and thought, do you know what? I'm going to go in here. If it doesn't work for me, I'm going to take the experience. I'm going to learn from these players. I am going to get some game time. But if it doesn't work, I can go back and I can take what I learned from this period and I can add it on to the rest of my career.
Well, obviously, they can't play in the Euros, the US, but what we are
Clear.
seeing, Kasey, is many young players from the US playing in the top European leagues, the likes of Tyler Adams, you've got Giovanni Reyna, Christian Pulisic, now Weston McKennie in Serie A. How good is it for US soccer to be seeing this happening?
Well, I think it's great because I think there was a situation probably, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where, there was quite a few players, particularly playing in England, players playing in Germany, that then obviously added to that good balance of, for the U.S. national team of, guys in MLS kind of fighting to get better, guys in Europe coming in, bringing that experience. And then there was a little time period where there just seemed to be a group that it just didn't work out for them in Europe. And now you're seeing kind of that good balance, young players going straight to Europe, having some success, breaking into their teams. You're seeing, Christian Pulisic making a $60 million transfer to Chelsea and really building into a very good season there. And, Gio Reyna, a young kid, 17, breaking in and getting a lot of games for a club the size like Dortmund. And we'll be really interested to see how his progression goes this next season. And then now you look at someone like Weston, who like I said, did things the right way. 18 years old, started getting some playing time for Schalke, working his way into a regular starter, and now having a transfer opportunity where it looked like he had several options to maybe go to England, but he chooses to really battle at Juventus. So I think Greg Berhalter, U.S. national team, has to be very happy with the way some of these young players have progressed in Europe.
Yeah,
I think Kate, it's crystal clear, and Jurgen Klinsmann was frowned upon when he talked about it 2 or 3 years ago about the players have to be playing in the best leagues. Now, maybe the way Klinsmann went about it was rather brash, but it stands true. And Kasey knows this from his time as a player, and the success that he had with the national team was there's a lot of guys out there playing in the top leagues, and you can only get better. And that doesn't mean that there's going to be guaranteed success at national team level, but I think it gives you a better chance, and it gives, as Kasey said, the coach a better fist to go and do the job. And yes, it's good to have players playing in Major League Soccer if that's the league that you follow. But the bottom line is the players, the top quality players, and if you want to improve your national team, the bulk of these guys have to be out there playing at the kind of level some of these boys are playing at now on a weekly basis. They're learning the game. They're playing with better players. And guess what? They're getting better. And it is great to see some of the platforms that some of these young United States boys are getting in the top European leagues.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.